In this video, we're going to be going over the top 5 best coach cards right now in NBA 2K25 Myteam and which coaches you guys should be running in game. I'll be ranking the top 5, so if you guys have any of these 5 coaches, they are all very, very good, especially the top tier coaches in the game. And I feel like it's a very underrated thing to have a top tier coach because, for example, we'll talk about Phil Jackson here in a second, but he gives +5 speed and +5 3-point shot to every single card on your squad, also giving +5 perimeter, +5 stamina, and +5 mid-range. So, for example, if you want to use a card like Zach Edey, to me, he's sort of the perfect example of how he can really help out a card. Zach Edey's only got 60 speed and an 83 3 ball, so he's now going to have an 88 3 ball, and he's also going to have 65 speed compared to only 60. So that +5 speed for cards like this really do matter. And even cards like, for example, if you want to talk about Khalil Ware, right? The new really good pink diamond card that just came out, right? If we look at Khalil Ware, his 3 ball now goes up to a 94 and his speed goes from a really good 89, but also to a 94 speed. That's a lot faster than 89. And that is sort of noticeable in game. So I think it's really important to have a great coach. And we'll be talking about what are the top 5 best ones to be running right now in my team. So we'll start off from the bottom, of course, gotta, work from the way back. So at number 5, honestly, not that great of a coach, if I'm being completely honest. There's definitely obviously better coaches that we'll talk about here in a second, but I think at number 5 you could look at some of these Ruby coaches. I know I don't really like Eric Spoelstra. Like +3 free throw isn't very good, +3 interior defense is good, +3 agility is good, but again, I think there's a better option. Tom Thibodeau, he gives like +3 offensive rebound, +3 strength, +3 stamina, +3 hustle. So neither of these cards I think are really good. The thing is, for example, Mike Brown, he gives +3 speeds. This one could be potentially good, but the thing about a Mike Brown card and the lower tier coach cards is you can see it's called game trigger. That means like when does these effects come into play. So for a lower tier coach like an Emerald, so Mike Brown, it starts in the first half, but then it ends at the first half. So then after that, you're not going to get that boost anymore, which is really disappointing. But if you use a Ruby or higher, I think it is, or is it? No, I think it's a Sapphire and higher. It will start at the start of the game, these boost, and then it will also go all the way to the end of the game. So that's why you really don't want to be using any of these Emerald coaches. If possible, you want to have to, you'd want to use Sapphires and above just because it's going to last the entire game, the boost that you do have. And then yeah, Michael Malone here, +3 close shot, +3 pass accuracy, +3 standing down, +3 pass vision. Not horrible, but again, not going to be who we have here at number 5. Number 5 is going to be the Ruby Chris Finch. And the reason for that is he gives a decent boost. Again, it's only +3, but he gives a decent boost to interior defense, perimeter defense, and +3 agility. So I think it's better than any of the Ruby coaches in my personal opinion, but obviously you guys can run any of the Rubies if you do want those specific stats to upgrade. And looking at Chris Finch, I mean, he's going to be fairly cheap for a card. Obviously, it's expensive for a coach card, 17K, but we'll talk about here in a second. The higher tier cards is kind of where you want to focus on a conference, right? So for example, if you want to get these Amethyst coaches, you do have to lock in the entire Eastern Conference for Joe Mazzulla and then the entire Western Conference for Mark. So in my opinion, I think Joe Mazzulla is the 4th best coach in this game. I do think he's really good. I do think he's one of the best coaches, and I'm not exactly sure how you see. No, I know where to see him. We go down here, we go over to here, we can see Joe Mazzulla. These are going to be his boosts at number 4. I think he's definitely a lot better than Chris Finch because he's going to give you that +4 3-point shot. You're really looking for 3-pointer and speed. Those are the 2 best categories, 2 best attributes to be looking to upgrade. So I think Joe Mazzulla is going to be here at number 4. Mid-range shot is also whatever. Defensive rebound is cool. Offensive consistency does not matter. And then next to him at number 3 is going to be Mark. So I do think Mark's slightly better just because he's also going to give you that +4 3-point shot just like Joe Mazzulla does, but then he's also going to give you +4 block and +4 steal, which in my opinion is a lot more valuable than defensive rebound and mid-range. And then the defensive consistency compared to the offensive consistency obviously doesn't matter. So it's really just, would you rather steal block +4 or would you rather mid-range and defensive rebound +4? For me, I'll take the defense any day of the week, taking that +4 block, +4 steal. I think that can make a huge difference for a lot of cards on the defensive end. Both these cards are really good coaches. And, I think personally, we'll talk about some more cards here in a second. Obviously, we'll talk about number 2, talk about number 1. But I think if you wanted to, again, I would just lock in for 1. Do you need better than Mark? Probably not. So yes, it's going to be expensive. Like we saw Chris Finch, you could probably get him for like 15k. Michael Malone, he looks to be about 10,000 MT. So you're looking at, 25-ish K between these two coaches. It's going to cost a pretty penny, because I think some of these lower ones are a little bit rare too. There might be some in here that are like extinct, but a lot of these coaches should be very cheap. So me personally, what I'd recommend you guys do is just go out and lock in the Western Conference. Again, if you have the MT to spend, I'm thinking it should be nowhere near above 50k, right? Like maybe 50,000 MT, unless there's some crazy gold card that's going for an insane amount that like nobody can get. Like JJ Redick, is he crazy expensive? No. Like this should be no more than 50k. And I think if you have the MT to spend, I do think it's actually worth going out and locking in for Mark. Now, is it worth it going and lock in for Joe Mazzulla as well? This is where you get the Diamond Steve Kerr. And I'll show you guys here, as you guys can see. So if you lock in Joe Mazzulla and you lock in Mark, you are going to get the Diamond Steve Kerr, and he's going to be our second best coach in the game, because he is better than both of those cards, because he's also going to give speed as a +4, compared to where Mark and Joe Mazzulla only give the +4 3-pointer. Kerr's also going to give +4 3, but then he's also going to give +4 speed, which is really good. He's also going to give +4 ball handle, +4 free throw, and +4 mid-range. But the only stats that really matter, in my opinion, 3-point shots, speed, and then that ball handle is definitely decent to have as well. So what I would recommend, if you don't have a crazy amount of MT, just go lock in for one of the Amethyst coaches for the Western Conference or the Eastern Conference. If you have the MT and you want to get both, I do think Steve Kerr is a really good coach to have. And then obviously, guys, at number 1, you can't earn this card anymore. And I think there might have been more Pink Diamond coaches when the All-Star Festival was going on. I'm not exactly sure even how people got those cards. I wasn't playing the game when that did happen, but let me see if there's any other coaches here. Like you can see there's some, Amethyst ones that you could have got. I'm pretty sure, like Shaq, Kenny Smith, Greg Popovich. I'm pretty sure these coaches were available when the All-Star Festival was going on. You could like exchange some of those event pieces for coaches like Greg Popovich or the Amethyst, and then that's how you got the Phil Jackson. So I didn't want to include the other ones, for example, like a Shaq, a Kenny Smith, or a Greg Popovich. I am including Phil Jackson just to let you guys know he is the best coach in the game. If you don't want to count him, and if you just want to count the coaches that you can't earn right now, Steve Kerr is the best coach you can earn right now in the game. Then it's Mark, then it's Joe Mazzulla, then it's Chris Finch, and then it's probably just one of the other rubies that you can earn right now, whether it's Eric Spoelstra, Tom Thibodeau, or Michael Malone. But wanted to include Phil Jackson just because he is the best coach in this game, because he gives that +5 3, +5 speed, and +5 perimeter defense, which are all pretty much the best stats you could be upgrading. Definitely the speed and the 3-pointer, and it's a little bit higher being +5 compared to +4, so gonna boost it up a little bit more. So Phil Jackson's definitely the best coach in the game, but unfortunately you can't earn him anymore, which is a little bit disappointing. I'm trying to see if I can maybe show you guys in here, but I don't think it's obviously anywhere in here. But yeah, so when the All-Star Festival was going on, you guys were able to earn a lot of coaches. So I'm just going to mention it just because if you guys did grind the game and if you guys got some of those coaches, these are also some really good coaches in here. For example, Kenny Smith is pretty good, +4 ball handle, +4 3-point shot is good, right? Greg Popovich, he'll also be good for defensive stats, like +4 speed's good, +4 block, +4 pass hack, +4 strength. That's good. So if you guys have these other coaches, for example, Mitch Richmond's not bad for a lower tier 1 as well. So if you guys have some of these coaches that you're able to get during the All-Star Festival, definitely use these coaches. Like if you have a Diamond Greg Popovich, or if you have a Pink Diamond Phil Jackson, definitely use those cards. But if you guys are just looking to go get coaches now and you don't have a coach, or you didn't get one of those coaches from the Myteam Festival, definitely would recommend going for just Amethyst Mark. If you have a lot of MT, you can definitely get Joe Mazzulla as well, and then lock in for that Diamond Steve Kerr, and then obviously go ahead and use Diamond Steve Kerr. So that's my top 5 ranking. I know it's a little bit all over the place, but I wanted to make a video going over the best coaches in this game, so you guys kind of have an understanding of what coaches you should be looking to buy. And if you guys have those other coaches from the Myteam Festival, which ones are the best? Obviously, like I said, Phil Jackson, Kenny Smith, and Greg Popovich. But let me know in the comment section down below, what coach card are you guys currently running in game? And let me know what you guys thought about my top 5, anything you would change in there, maybe some underrated coaches that I did mention. But hopefully you guys found this video helpful, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.